So I've had quite a few people ask me to make a video about this Landhero T450. Just doing a little walk around. I'm going to show you guys a few things I've done to it, common problems I've had, and repetitive problems I've had with the machine and what I've done to fix them, and some stuff I'm still kind of figuring out. So the machine is currently at 223, we'll call it 224 hours, and I abuse the absolute hell out of the thing. So I use it for tree work, and it gets worked just about every day. I've owned it since, I believe, the beginning of 2025, so not super long, and I'll go over some of the weak points on it. First of all, I like to be able to lift heavy stuff, so when the thing wouldn't pick up some of the logs I wanted it to, I decided to purchase some ruck plates off of Amazon. I got 3 on each side that are 45 pounds a piece, and I went ahead and made some little fabricated sections to hold the weight stack in place on both sides. Could it be done better? I'm sure it could, but that's what I did for this build. I'm gonna put some little like rubber stoppers here to help hold the weight stack in place. Downside is, especially if you're doing tree work, you run into trees and other stuff if you're starting to back up and you're not paying attention. So that is a downside. In turn, with being able to pick up more weight, these machines are not built that well as far as metal goes. So I've gone through and I just started welding little plates in where I thought they would be best. A lot of things were cracking and breaking right here, so I'd start with one plate. If it didn't work, then I'd go through, start all over, grind it out, and put another plate in, and so on. So I ended up putting a double plate here, and that solved my problem along with that. I put these here, was going to put lights, changed my mind, so they're just hanging out. I put this here as well. That's more of a support for this, because this little boom piece, because it does wobble a little bit. It's an auto leveling, and it just doesn't do well with a lot of weight, especially on the curl. So I put that there for that, and also as like a little stopper, because this would go almost all the way down, and that was contributing to some of the bend. You can see it a little bit right through there. So that's that. I got lazy on this. I haven't fixed this yet. One of the pins came out, and so I just put a trailer pin there for now. It's been working, so have no complaints about that. So that covers the structural stuff. I mean, it's just the same thing for up here. I've had to do welding up top and underneath. The next thing that has been failing quite often is the track bolts. So I'm actually in the process of redoing that. You can see right here, sorry about the lighting, it's not great, where one snapped, and it's these, I think they're grade 8 or grade 9, or they're supposed to be if they're black hex bolts. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that in the comments, but I've found replacing them with regular bolts, one, it just works better. They're harder to strip out in my opinion. And 2, they don't break, at least in my experience. So I'm replacing all those currently, and while I'm right here, you can see this is another big weakness. So there's a little piece of metal right here that goes across the rear track piece. I don't know all the terminology for that, but it's very thin and flat. I'll show you on the other side. So I put a piece of angle iron in there and welded that in, because when I pivot, especially on asphalt, it was torquing this rear end, and I wasn't paying attention. Long story short, it torqued it and it would just snap it, and I had to do a bunch of custom work here to get that fixed. If you plan on trying to own one of these machines, I highly recommend getting a welder from Harbor Freight, like a Vulcan. Figure out how to weld. MIG is really straightforward. Stick, if you want to do stick 2, I'd recommend learning one of the 2, just because things do break, and it is a lot cheaper to just fix it yourself, obviously. But show you the other side here. That's the piece I'm talking about. You can see. It's super small. And the same thing happened over here, as you can see. And I didn't think about it at the time, so I just welded that back in. It's been holding, but I have a feeling I'm going to have to modify that before long. Otherwise, it's just going to break. And you don't want that to happen, because if it torques, one, it ends up screwing up this rear roller, and then you potentially have a broken bolt, and you got to go to a weld shop and get them to tack it out, unless you have your own welder. So that's the track system. The tracks pop off all the time, so it's pretty simple. All I do is just take a little monkey wrench and go in there, loosen it up like it is right now. And when they pop off, I just prop it up on some blocks and push with the claw. And it goes on and off pretty easy. I mean, it's not that hard to figure out. You don't need any crowbars or anything like that. Now, that being said, it's probably a good idea to have something like that if you need to like really pry it to pop it back on. But so that's the tracks. For the operator area, I got tired of my legs slamming up against the bare metal, so I went on Amazon and got it's like a garage / carport wall protector. It's kind of heavy duty, and then I put just some tape over that to hold it in place and weatherproof it a little more. I put a little fan switch in, and I did that because the OE one, if you will, only cut on at a certain temperature, and this thing has a really bad habit of overheating. Since I've done that, it doesn't overheat as much. I think the highest it's ever gotten since I installed that is like 87C. I'm not sure what that translates to Fahrenheit. So that's that. And that is a must. I think if you own one of these machines, you should hardwire a fan switch in and upgrade the fan. I have a Amazon radiator fan in there. It's like $18. It's well worth the upgrade. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck overheating all the time, and it's going to wear your seals out in your hydraulic pump, along with all of your other hydraulic areas that have seals, because they're not rated for that much heat. So coming down here, you'll see on Facebook forums when I'm in, everybody has fuel problems with these things. It's just nature of the beast. My theory is it's because of this tank. It's not gravity fed like a lot of the Toro Dingos and other mini skids. So the machine's having to work the fuel pump, the mechanical fuel pump, really hard, and it ends up just giving out. So what I did is what a lot of people do. I just put a electric fuel pump in, best thing you can do, and I just hooked it in over in here. So whenever you turn the key to start, you can hear it click on. And then I went ahead and just routed the mechanical fuel pump to itself because it just kept failing, and I got tired of replacing them. So that is the general rundown of this machine. Like I said, I've owned it for almost a year now, and those are just some of the common problems I've seen in forums, and also I've experienced myself. Can you fix them yourself? Absolutely. All you need is a little toolkit, and if you have a welder, that's going to save you a lot of time, headache, and money. Overall, would I recommend this machine to somebody that's running a tree service or a landscaping company or hardscaping, something of that nature? Absolutely. I think it's really worth it. I bought this machine for $6,500, and it's helped make me over $200,000 this year. So it's definitely worth the money. Yes, you can go buy a Bobcat or some other machine, a Toro machine, and you're going to spend, for a used one that can pick up around 800 pounds, you're going to spend like $13,000 to $16,000, just depending on your area and the condition of the machine, of course. So I would highly recommend it, especially for somebody starting their business. If you don't want to work on your equipment and you just don't want to have all the tools, to be quite honest, you may be in the wrong industry, because in my experience, if you own a business, you're going to be working on your equipment regardless, especially if you want to save yourself some money. It's good experience, for one. These machines are absolutely ridiculously easy to work on, for two. Getting parts, depending on the parts, it's really not that bad. I replaced the drive motor on one side of the track system, and I think it cost me like $250, which a Toro Dingo drive motor is around, I don't know, I think they're like $800 to $1,000, maybe even more. You can correct me if I'm wrong there as well. But I can tell you the parts are dirt cheap, and the machine is really, really simple to fix and work on. Another thing I forgot to mention, I took the top plate off of mine. You'll see the stock ones do have the top plate. That's just for air. And a lot of guys wonder, hey, you know, my battery died, or the machine's not cutting on. How do I access the battery? Well, I have skinny arms, so I can just reach in through here and hook in clamps. If you're not that fortunate, what you can do is, and this is what I recommend if you buy the machine or if you have one currently, is you can hook up some little clamps or some sort of temp leads where you can hook up to them, like pull them out or have them at the operator area, and you can just plug it in. That will save you from having to dig your arm in there, or if you can't get your boom up, then you can actually still jump the machine or charge it. So that also being said, you don't need to charge these machines. They have their own little alternator, if you will, like a stator, and that charges the batteries. So super handy there. But yeah, that is the overall rundown. I hope this is helpful to somebody. And if you're stuck trying to make the decision of buying one of these machines or not, I'd recommend doing it. You just got to shop the machines and make sure it's a good machine. If you buy a crap machine, then you're going to have a crap machine. If you buy a Chinese machine that's actually decent, you're going to have a decent machine. How do you know what machine to get? That's a whole nother thing. You can join some Facebook forums that I highly recommend doing and shop them. I bought this on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace. But yeah, so if you guys end up having more questions, you want to see more videos, and you want to see this thing putting some work in, lifting logs, carrying brush, and if you really want, I can do another fabrication video and show you guys how I did that as well. Just let me know in the comments, and I will do my best to help you guys out.